Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. We're starting today with a thought that really gets to the heart of how we learn. Albert Einstein famously said the only source of knowledge is experience.
Exactly.
Now, just imagine for a second. What if we could bottle that experience, scale it up, make even like the most impossible lessons feel totally real and, accessible to everyone?
Well, that's pretty much what we're diving into today. This deep dive is all about the real cutting edge of educational tech, specifically how virtual reality VR and augmented reality AR are, well, not just creeping in, but actually starting to transform classrooms.
Yeah, and we've been digging into some really interesting sources for you, mostly this detailed brochure looking at two big names here, Class VR and Avantis World. Our mission really is to, cut through the buzzwords, figure out how this stuff actually works in a classroom, see what the real benefits are, and show you how they're aiming to make learning genuinely engaging and, well, effective. So let's just jump right in.
Okay, sounds good. Let's kick off with Class VR. Now, this isn't just like another gadget. It's being presented as some pretty groundbreaking VR tech built, specifically for the classroom setting.
Right.
Its main goal, based on what we've read, is to really ramp up student engagement and help kids actually remember what they learn across all ages, too.
Okay, that's a big promise. But what really caught my eye is that Class VR isn't just like a headset. They call it a complete all-in-one VR and AR solution.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean for a school? Is it really simpler, or are there, hidden catches?
That's a great question. And honestly, the insight here, the thing that makes it different is that it's designed to be genuinely plug and play. It's fully integrated, classroom ready, so schools don't need extra computers or complicated setups.
Okay.
Which, makes it way easier for teachers who already have a million things to do. It comes with these standalone headsets designed with students in mind and a really simple interface.
So it's not just the hardware then. You mentioned the interface being easy. What about the actual lessons, the educational stuff?
Yeah, that's crucial. It comes loaded with literally thousands of curriculum-aligned resources. And these aren't just like cool tech demos. They're built on solid educational principles, pedagogically sound, as they say, covering tons of subjects in both VR and AR.
Okay. And for the teachers trying to manage, a room full of kids with headsets on, the sources talk about central headset management. How does that actually make a teacher's life easier?
Right. Think of it as mission control. There's this teacher portal where they can super easily send specific activities or scenes to all the headsets at once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they can guide the student's attention within the VR experience and even see what each student is looking at in real time. It just helps keep things on track and maximizes the learning time.
As someone who's seen the state of school tech carts, the secure storage and charging part sounds like a lifesaver. No more overheating gear or cable spaghetti. These rugged cases for 4-8 headsets sound really practical.
Oh, totally. They seem built for the reality of school life, easy to move between rooms. And they have built-in USB charging and even cooling fans so the headsets can charge safely inside the closed case.
That's smart.
And importantly, the package includes setup and training. So schools aren't just left with a box of tech, they get help getting started. It really is pitched as a complete system.
Okay, so logistically, it sounds like they've thought through a lot of the headaches. But let's get to the core question. Once it's up and running, what's the actual impact on learning? Is it just, a fun distraction, or does it really move the needle on outcomes?
Well, the sources hit hard on this. They claim that learning through experience, which VR is perfect for, can boost knowledge retention by up to 75%.
75%? Wow, that's huge.
It really is. And are there caveats? The sources don't really detail them, but they lean on this general idea. You only remember maybe 10% of what you read.
Right.
But you can retain up to 90% of what you experience. VR makes abstract stuff feel real, memorable.
That makes intuitive sense.
Yeah, this deep immersion means students aren't just reading about, say, ancient Rome, they're in the Colosseum. That naturally creates excitement and improves how they interact and discuss things.
Okay, so engagement is a big piece. But beyond just being fun, the sources also claim VR can improve student attainment like test scores by up to 20%.
So it's aiming for measurable results, too.
Exactly. They wrap it up in this model, experience, engage, achieve. The idea is the immersive experience leads to deeper engagement.
Got it.
Which then leads to better achievement. It's trying to lift the whole learning process.
Okay, let's zoom in on the headset for a sec. They say it's designed for students light, comfortable, easy to use. That seems pretty important, especially for younger kids. Definitely. And technically, they seem pretty robust for classroom use. We're talking 64 gigs of storage, a decent octa-core processor, the Snapdragon XR1 for smooth visuals,
Hmm.
a sharp HD screen, good Wi-Fi, a front camera for the AR stuff, and importantly, at least 4 hours of battery life in continuous use.
Basically enough for a good chunk of the school day.
So powerful enough, durable enough, and versatile too, you mentioned. Holding it or using straps, plus
But
controller.
yeah, you could hold it up like binoculars or use head straps for hands-free. And yeah, each one comes with a hand controller for more interaction.
All right, so let's talk content because, the hardware is only as good as what you can do with it. You said thousands of resources.
Yeah, thousands. And crucially, curriculum aligned. These aren't random VR videos. They're designed with lesson plans, worksheets, structured activities, really meant to help visualize tricky subjects.
And the types of content sound pretty varied. Augmented reality, you mentioned, where kids interact with 3D models. Exactly. Using the headset's front camera, they can, like, hold a virtual beating heart in their hand or examine an ancient pot that seems to be sitting right there on their desk. Pretty cool stuff.
Wow. Okay. And then they're 360-degree images.
Right, those basically transport students. They can step inside a historical place, explore a remote ecosystem, places they obviously couldn't just visit on a field trip. It gives incredible context.
Yeah, I can see that. And explorable scenes. How are they different?
Those are more interactive. Students can actually move around, explore, discover things within a virtual environment. It encourages more independent learning, sparks curiosity, and gets them talking to each other about what they're finding.
Okay, so more agency.
Yeah.
And then 360-degree videos add another layer of immersion.
Yeah, carefully chosen videos that really pull you into an experience. But what's also really interesting is the creation side.
Oh, how so?
Well, Class VR isn't just about consuming content. Teachers and students can actually create and upload their own stuff. They partner with platforms like ThingLink, but you can also upload your own 360 photos or videos.
Wait, so a teacher could film a local historical site with a 360 camera and then let the kids explore it in VR back in class.
Exactly. Or students could create their own 3D models and bring them in. And there's a Class VR community where educators can share what they've made, use stuff others have created. It makes it a much more dynamic thing.
That collaborative aspect sounds powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, but how does a teacher manage all this in practice? You mentioned the teacher portal earlier.
Right. The portal is kind of the command center. It's where teachers find all the content searchable by subject, topic, keyword, and they can just drag and drop things into playlists for their lessons. Super simple.
And delivering the lesson.
Just a click. They can launch an activity simultaneously on all the headsets, so everyone starts the experience together and the teacher stays in control.
And you said they can see what students are seeing.
Yeah, they can monitor student focus by literally seeing through the eyes of each student on their own screen. It gives them instant feedback on who might be stuck or distracted.
That's amazing insight. But what if everyone's looking in different directions in VR? How do you get them all focused on the same thing for like a discussion point?
Good question. They have this feature called dynamic points of interest. The teacher can basically highlight something specific within the 360-degree scene.
Okay.
And it creates this little visual cue, like a breadcrumb trail, guiding all the students' attention to that specific spot without pulling them out of the experience. It lets the teacher direct the focus.
Clever. Okay, so that's Class VR, a very classroom-focused solution. Now let's switch gears a bit because the other source covers Avantis World. This sounds bigger, more ambitious. They call it the world's first educational virtual reality theme park.
Yeah, it's definitely a different scale, a virtual theme park for learning. The idea is students can discover, explore, and experience unimaginable things, and crucially, they can access it from pretty much any device.
Any device, so not just VR headsets?
Right, that's key. It supports classroom VR, but also remote students on laptops, tablets, even hybrid setups. So everyone can join the same virtual field trip regardless of where they are.
Okay, that's a big deal for accessibility. So it's like this big virtual park, kids navigate, exploring different lands and scenes.
Exactly. They explore these VR scenes, but inside of Vantis World, these scenes are packed with resources, background info, quizzes, worksheets, 360 images, videos, AR models. It's all integrated into the environment.
Can you give us some examples? What kind of learning lands are there?
Sure. So in Trip Through Timeland, there's a scene called Castle Under Siege for older kids, maybe 11, 16. They can explore a medieval castle being attacked.
Whoa.
Yeah. Learn about siege engines like trebuchets, defenses like portcullises, and moats. And there are tasks like figuring out how the defenders got food and water. Really brings history to life.
Definitely beats just reading about it. What about for younger kids?
Okay. Over in Literacy Land, there's Jack and the Beanstalk for the 6 to 11 crowd. Kids can explore Jack's village, his house, actually climb the beanstalk.
No way.
Yeah, and find the hen in the giant's castle. The tasks might involve exploring details about Jack's life or the giant's home. It's experiencing the story, not just hearing it.
That emotional connection must be so much stronger. What about science?
In Engaging Earthland, there's a scene like how earthquakes happen for a wide age range, 616. Students see a city after a quake. They can view animations of different fault types, normal, reverse, strike slip.
Ah, visualize the geology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Learn about seismometers, see the impacts like liquefaction or fires, and tasks might involve identifying the fault types or finding the epicenter. It makes really complex earth science much more concrete and understandable.
That sounds incredibly effective for those kinds of abstract topics.
Hmm.
And behind this theme park experience, there are assessment tools for teachers.
Oh, yeah, powerful reporting assessment. There's a teacher dashboard where they manage park tickets for students, track progress, see reports.
Park tickets, I like that.
Hey, yeah. And student management seems pretty straightforward, adding kids individually or in bulk, even creating simple picture logins for the little ones.
And tracking progress.
Really detailed. Teachers can see how students did on quizzes, how long they spent on questions, review any files they submitted within the world, and export all that data. It helps manage the assessment side of things.
Okay, so we've got Class VR focusing on the classroom hardware and managed content, and Avantis World creating this broader, device-agnostic virtual learning theme park. Both sound impressive on paper,
Hmm.
but what are actual teachers saying? Does it work in the real world?
Yeah, the testimonials are pretty positive. For Class VR, Michelle Quinlan, a UK primary teacher, said her students were engaged, enthusiastic, and achieving, and it sparked great discussions in English.
Nice. Any other subjects?
Math, actually. Terry Gogola in the U.S. found her high school students were 100% engaged exploring geometry concepts like lines and angles. She highlighted the incredible verbal communication and collaboration it fostered.
So it gets them talking and working together? Interesting.
And Stephen Coyne in Brussels used it for history and science. His students felt like they were actually in the trench system when learning about WWI microbes. It brought a potentially dry topic right to life.
Yeah, you can see how that would make a difference. Experience over textbook, right?
Absolutely.
Ah.
And Man Choi, in South Korea, used it for a virtual field trip to the moon, helping students grasp what astronauts might feel, that empathy piece.
Wow. And for Avantis World, similar feedback.
Very similar themes. Mark Savory in Australia said his students love the interactivity. It brings learning to life and gives a deeper level to their learning experience.
Makes sense. Exploring versus just being told.
And Simon Luxford Moore in the UK made a great point. He said, VR gives an emotional and experiential connection. He found it was way easier for kids to discuss Jack and the Beanstalk after experiencing climbing the beanstalk, rather than just seeing it in 2D.
That really sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The power of experience. Okay, so pulling this all together for you, our listener, what's the big takeaway?
Well, it seems clear that VR and AR in education, especially with these kinds of well-thought-out solutions like Class VR and Avantis World, are way more than just tech toys.
Right, not just gimmicks.
No.
Yeah.
They're looking like genuinely powerful tools for experiential learning. The potential to boost how much kids remember, keep them engaged, and actually improve results seems real because they make things accessible, things that were impossible before.
Yeah, they really do offer a kind of shortcut to understanding, turning abstract ideas into something you can almost touch, something memorable, even emotional.
Exactly. It's about learning something you actually feel,
Totally. And that leads us to our final thought for you to mull over. Given this incredible power of VR and AR to simulate almost anything and take students anywhere, what kind of impossible field trip would you most want to take? And how could that fundamentally change how we learn even the toughest subjects? Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.